Well, hello everybody, welcome back to episode 101 of my Let's Play Tyranny. I've really got to find out how this name's said. Anyway, let's get on with this. I'm talking to Jasper, master of kidnapping or napping, I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, we've obviously gone through this little conversation with him. He's basically the leader, he wants me to find tools for him. I said I would if you give me a donation. He said he would teach me something. He also said what settlements fate. I said, well, if you pay the court, so he paid me some rings, that I'll keep it alive for now, etc, etc, etc. And asked him what he does, and he can forge anything. He's made this power to keep out the disease water, stuff like that. That's the gist of it. Tell me what Tycaster Warstaff, about Tycaster. You should know the Warstaff, Wagstaff even, not War, there's a G in it, Wagstaff, and I aren't on the best of terms. He's old and set in his ways. I've tried. Believe me, I've reached out. I've invited him to share my fire. I've talked like men, but he's the sort that prefers his own company and ideas. He doesn't seem to care about people the way I do. In fact, I think he views us as irritants one must endure. He sighs, loudly shaking his head with an whatever that word is, something smile. He smiled. He does help the wound. I grant him that, cleansing water with his magic. His methods are different than mine, of course, far slower. He thinks his contributions are more viable, since they can combat disease. A valuable tool for certain, but without the volume of water produced from my stone sieves, the settlement would die in a span. So in other words, you need each other. In the end, he just refuses to accept that his role has changed. He helped the wound get his bearings years ago, but being the first does not make one qualified to lead. He hates that people have responded to me and has been blinded by that. What do you know about Reef Talon? He holds a bowl of crushed rock aloft, squinting to examine its contents as he speaks. So you've heard. It's unfortunate what happened to her. Reef Talon arrived a year after I did. Massive creature, one of the largest beasts I've ever seen. She never spoke of her past much, but we knew she was in a flight. In a flight? When she stumbled upon the wound with her cubs. Was in a flight? I guess he means she was running away? Upon the wound with her cubs. He pulls a fragment out of the bowl, running it slowly between his fingers. Whenever she fled, it didn't stop her from devouring the bane. She was good at it, good enough to lead the beast woman. But I was going to say beast woman then, beastmen. But Reef Talon had something else, far more important. She could heal others with a mere touch. Didn't matter if you had been raped by the bane or fell on your own sword. She could close up your wounds and send you on your way, like nothing ever happened. It's already that is not ordinary magic. How did she do it? You gain 21 love. Nice. I don't think she knew herself. She wasn't a student of her craft, not even using beastmen mystics as a standard. What I do here, that's not an accident. It's years of control and study and meticulous perfection. Reef Talon simply acted on instinct, and that didn't work to anyone's benefit. With a dissatisfied shake of the head, he flicks the unwanted chip into the water. Sometimes we're better off without such miracles. Those Reef Talon healed slowly became sick. It was impossible for them to sleep, even when exhausted, and the relentless waking drove them mad. The application takes a while to fully take hold, but the end result is always the same. Even worse, those bestowed with magic slowly lose their gifts. He looks towards the forge. Pained expression visible on his face. Now they're just known as the Sleepless. All of their life and virtually robbed and spent. A terrible end faked by the Reef Talon couldn't face a mistake, and she fled into the old walls like a coward. He circles around the platform, speaking as much to passers-by as with you, and to think that many here saw her as a leader. What leader runs in the face of adversity? Those of us that remain, we are the ones that continue to hold up the Beware's wound. I toil every day to keep the fires my forge running, and the people can see who they can truly rely upon. Nearby onlookers shout and pump their fists in support, eliciting a raised fist from the forge-bound master in return. My thing is, if she's doing more harm than good, isn't it a sign of a good leader to take away that harm? So by leaving, she's actually improved the place. You know, depending how bad her gift is and how crazy she's gone, she might have got to the point where she starts literally slaughtering people here. So as a good leader, that would be put yourself down or leave. So you don't want to slaughter people who you're possibly protecting. So I don't realize it's a bad leader, if that's the case. How do you deal with the Bane? In case you haven't noticed, the Beastmen with us aren't your common feral savages. Something about this place focuses them. Whenever they come as our workers or on their own, they eventually became fixated on the Bane. I've seen some hunched over, guarding our portals for hours. If any Bane come through, they savage them instantly. But apart from the Bane, our Beastmen aren't violent, strange but welcome. Okay, question. Obviously, he's going to answer this, but is the Bane what they're really fixated on, or is it your other partner who was here before you, kind of put them in some kind of trance with his magic? So they're like his slaves. That's his chin full. I have no explanation. We never asked the Beastmen to act as our sentence. Well, he might have done. Not you, but he might have. They took it on naturally and have never complained. We do lose some to injury, but so far their defence has worked. He nods. Safe journeys, Faithbinder. Okay. So we speak with Jasper, Master of Napping. Discern how to deal with the settlement. So we'll find that thing for you because you might help. Where's the other dude? Wound farm. Down here. Okay, there's a starter. What's that? What's complete? What did they complete? Well, that's because I decided to keep them alive. Carrying all of his tools. I just took it out one, didn't I? Like I said, if they're gonna pay and give me a lot more money, it might be worth keeping them here. I do want to go and find his tools because he's going to teach me something. You know, getting all useful out before we get rid of him. Arrange at angles that record a signal of grave light. These crystals shimmering with the collective glow of what little radius from was that Tyranny's grave filters into these depths. A bearded, weathered figure stands by the pool's edge, eyes closed in concentration, his face uncharitably withered from years of sun and wind, in a collection of deep intertwining creases, withered by a brittle-looking grey mane. One disapproving eye snaps open as you approach. Here you have already spoken with our other advocate, Jeff, regarding the league of this place. I wish you had spoken with me first, but if Jasper convinced you to show us mercy, then perhaps I owe him a day without disagreeing comments, half a day maybe. Thank you, Faithbinder. I knew the day would come that you will be discovered, and I imagine a much bloodier scenario. In this regard, I'm happy to be made a fool. Life here in the wound isn't easy, and we always assumed outsiders will bring death, not help. Your leniency is a sort of surprise we needed in these difficult times, and though I never would have guessed this, your arrival may be the sign of good things to come. Seriously? It's well for your future. Just what are you getting at? Let me guess, you need my help. These people here seem guilty of little more than trying to survive. I'm happy to be served. Later, I have a question. You need my help. We normally avoid contact with outsiders, for fear of trouble following us back home, and with my duties here, leaving is out of the question, and yet there are matters beyond these walls in a need of solution, and since I cannot leave this place to handle my own affairs, perhaps I can retain your services. So what you have in mind? There is an old rival of mine still out there, a sage named Phoebe? He twists the rope on the end of his belt, grimacing. Yes, we're from the rival schools. No, this isn't just a case of an unsettled score. I live and let live but she possesses an actual threat to the wound. She had knowledge of my plans to journey north to trace Kara's path to these mountains, which may expose us. She could bring a slew of homeless sages here, probably followed by a gaggle of spies. It's not worth the risk. She needs to die. His tone is matter-of-fact, almost casual. The problem is, finding her, we had a mutual contact, Melody, whatever, who used to spend his time of the year in Lutheran's Crossing. If the two are still in touch, she'll be able to point you in the right direction. All the Beaver's wounds would be in your debt. Most of all, me. Can I trust in your help? How do you know her? Is this sage really such a threat? I'm not going to kill someone before they've actually done anything. I'll find her. How do you know her? Over a decade ago, the School of Tides and the School of Ink in Quill tried, yet again, to discuss peace. She represented her school. I was forced to represent our end of the futurist meditation. It was all a farce to get to know a few of us, figure out who should be spied upon. Several spans later, some of my work was discovered by the sages. Effing word thieves. Every last one of them. Okay, I'll find her. Thank you. This matter has haunted me for quite a while. My stupidity caused the wound to be uncovered. Best not to think of it. You have been unlike other servants of Kara's I've encountered. You are indebted to your patient reason. One more thing, Faithbinder. If you do kill her, be sure to gather her belongings. Very important. That's the only way I can verify that you found the right sage. It would also, his words falter as he chokes up with a halting smile, it would also mean a great deal to see my old scrolls back. On the off chance she still carries them. It is a petty and vain request, but if you've been robbed before, you probably know the feeling. What else do you want of me? You do here as one of the leaders. Heard we swoon here once held us why? One of the leaders. He shakes his head. I'm the only true leader, as I've said before. But I won't below the point. He clears his throat. 3 years ago I stumbled across these old wolves, and very quickly found I wasn't alone. A clutch of hungry and sick tearsmen had stumbled upon these enclave as well. I had come here to escape Kara's forces, but I'm nothing if not driven by Nobilis, whatever. I decided to weigh anchor for a bit and help out. His staff dips into the pool of his feet, sending ripples across its surface. Water was both the problem and the solution. These refugees were surrounded by it, but couldn't drink it without picking up whatever old wolves induced the disease lived within it. Withering rot, we call it. Water down here. I'm continuing. To a tide caster, these are trivial matters. So long as I'm here, making a solution to purify the water, it is a simple matter. I make the life here possible. It's a difficult burden, but I'm honoured. Honoured my talents are put to good use. Tell me about the tide casters. We are the students of occulted Jad, Archon of Tides. She was one of the founding pioneers of the Tiers, and her school has been the longest running institution of learning in the Pesulia. Whatever. Don't listen on what the sage says. The sages say. Why didn't you leave with the others? Have you been doing? Why didn't you leave with the others? I was one of the few to stay, and why not? This is my home. I don't care about Kara's war or the slaughter sport of those Arachs. But I also wasn't about to sail west to die or starvation on the high seas. The promised lands are a lie. The ocean goes onward, or maybe you'll fall off the edge. Seriously? You think the planet's flat? Okay. Off the edge, or wrap around to the east coast of Terrence and land right in Kara's lap. Okay, that one's fine. I'll give you that. Basically, you think it's smaller than other people think. They think they will travel, they'll find some new land, and they can stay there. And then if they pass that land and carry on, then they'll come back around to Karas's stuff. Where you think that land's up there, you just go back to Karas's, that's fine. If I'm to die, let it happen in my father's coast and my mother's land. What have you been doing since the school departed? I spent the first few spans dealing with some visions business. I harvested and sages, I've wrung some friends of mine, and I'll admit, vengeance occurred to me for a time. occurred to you for a time? You literally just asked me to go kill someone for you. It not occurred to me for a time. It's still occurring to you. Ay, caramba. When Karazan's fuzzers came, I decided to stay far from the beaten path. I set out to the mountains to find privacy. This place was Susan, whatever that is, Rafflage. When I stumbled upon this place, somehow shifted from hovel to home. I did not expect to ask for the responsibility caring for these people, but now that I wear it, the mantle is comforting. And with that word, that settlement, we're going to end this episode. Please like, please subscribe, please hit the little bell for me. And please see you next week. And please share this video. Have a great day. Bye.